Hey there, Canopy Growth traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. It is Monday, May 6th. Hope you had a great weekend. And in this video, we're going to be discussing Canopy Growth, down 36% from the high of the DEA Schedule 3 news. And we're looking at potential for hourly oversold. And spoiler alert, VFF was touching down on hourly oversold, so that increases the odds that we could start to see other names in the sector start to follow suit. The more that start to go to hourly oversold, to reach hourly oversold, and the more that we're expecting the other names that have yet to do so to do so. So that's why it pays to look at other companies as well and how the rest of the sector was doing. And today truly was down over 10%. We're seeing some more FUD with regards to adult use leading into the elections. I still think that it's going to pass, though, as the most likely scenario. But before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff, and you'll be notified on any future live streams when I post new content. Also, you can follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. And as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. You should never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or any of my opinions. As you can see from the high of Tuesday, April 30th, we had about a 36% pullback now, and we finally started daily consolidation convincingly, having lost the low of the previous daily candle. Is multiple inside bars that broke bearish. We had some bullish breaks though on SNDL and Tilray, so we're seeing a little bit of divergence here and inverse correlation, where SNDL broke out of its daily inside bars bullish, and then CGC, you can see here, broke bearish. TLRY, that increased the odds, in my opinion, that TLRY was going to break bullish as well, but it could end up being a bull trap. You can see here we closed near the low of the day, and then we started to see some weakness into the end of the day here. But you can see Tilray, EMA 12 and 26 bull cross on deck, whereas CGC is gearing up for a bear cross of those daily EMAs. And then just bring up VFF real quick here to show you what I'm looking at. Same thing, daily EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, very close to playing out, and it just hit hourly oversold. So if CGC were to do something similar, that'd probably put us back down. Hourly oversold would put us probably around $9 or a flush of $9. So if we do see a flush of $9, that's going to be an opportunity for those that are looking for a potential, day trade, swing trade, depending on when we get it. I know a lot of people were asking, what's a good trade, when's a good entry. We're down over 36% from the recent highs. So if you're looking for entries, obviously not telling you to buy, sell, or hold, but not a bad idea to start scaling in my opinion. On the 5-minute time frame, it is a 5-minute bear flag as well. So if we just go from the high to the low, it did confirm it. So by about 1 penny, but essentially a double bottom here now. So if we just take our measured move from the 0.382 fib, it's saying about $9. So exactly what I would expect for hourly oversold territory would be somewhere around that $9 mark. And we have that 5-minute bear flag that's targeting that level as well. So we could still see daily consolidation. We're close near the low of the day today. So an example, I'll just kind of run through what I was discussing in the Pow Group private community today. So to start off the day, we had a couple 2-minute bull flags. You can see here, we had our low, high, higher low, and higher high. We actually held the 0.382 fib, and then we had another mini 2-minute bull flag there. But as you can see, if you zoom out to the 5-minute time frame after this monster move, right, once the DEA agreed that they should move it to Schedule 3, there was barely any support, and we ran, like I said, I think it was like 83%. Sorry about the dinging in the background. I have to have my phone on. I have a Airbnb guest checking in here shortly, so I have to keep my phone on. But you can see here 83% of upside and then a massive sell-off. And generally, after a big bull move like that, and something goes 80, 90%, 100% in a very relatively short period of time, usually 5-minute oversold, and then even 15 minutes oversold sometimes can act as a nice day trade or swing trade, and then ultimately hourly oversold. And generally, if you're looking for entries and you miss the move, usually hourly oversold will give you a nice daily higher low, and then daily oversold will give you a weekly higher low, right? So it's just kind of ways to think in your brain, like, okay, I missed the big move, right? And I'm starting to feel FOMO. If you're missing out, I don't want to buy and then see a brutal sell-off. And then sure enough, after that 83% move, we pulled back about 32%. So at this point here, we didn't actually hit 5-minute oversold. So you could have played off of $10 psychological though. We hit 10.22 on that pullback, and we hit 10.26 and then 10.22. So that was a nice double bottom opportunity. We had an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross on the 5-minute time frame, but we didn't hit 5-minute oversold. So this is an example of letting the trade come to you. So you could have said, okay, we're not 5-minute oversold. I'm not going to enter. Like, we didn't print it. Print it means that, the next candle opens and then that's set in stone essentially, right? It's printed, it's there, it's not going anywhere. It's not going to lower wick and then bounce back up, right? So the fact that it wasn't printed here, you might have said, okay, I'm not going to enter. I'm going to wait for 5-minute oversold to print. Or maybe you see these lower wicks and you said, okay, I'm going to play off $10 psychological. We have a nice, pretty much a double bottom there, 10.22 and then 10.26, right? You could have set your stop under $10. You could have done 9.89, right? Allow a little bit of wiggle room. So let's say you set your stop at 9.89. Let's say you entered there, looking to play off that double bottom and $10 psychological. You set your stop at 9.89. You're risking about a little over 3%, and you could have made about 25%, 26%, right, off of that move. So that would have been a way to play it if you were aggressive. If you were conservative, and you were waiting for 5-minute oversold, you say, okay, don't beat yourself up. You missed it. Wait for the next one. And so here was the first 5-minute oversold on May 2nd. So you could have entered there, and again, with a stop below 10, it was 10.10, so you could have entered with a stop below 10 on 5-minute oversold once we printed it, and then that would have been a day trade of about 11%. And then it happened again where we hit 5-minute oversold, and then we saw about 9%, somewhere around that 8-9%. So one thing you'll notice, though, is the bounces get smaller and smaller, right? Unless there's like major momentum or news or catalysts or things like that. But after a big bull move like that, 83% in barely any time at all, you need to expect like the law of diminishing returns essentially as you start to see this correct, right? And generally, whenever a big move like happens like that, 83%, right? You need to expect 30, 40, 50% of pullback. And sure enough, from that high to where we are now down about 36%, right? So we're getting close to that to that point where we'll start to expect a bottom, and it's more than likely going to be hourly oversold. So that's what I'd be looking at if I were looking for entries next. But another example of today and why we let the trade come to us is the 15-minute time frame. I mentioned to Pow Group private members as well that we could potentially see 15-minute oversold as an opportunity. But here's a great example of why it might not have been a great entry, because we already had a 27% move here off of the low to the high there. If we only hit 5-minute oversold once, but we hit it multiple times, and we saw pretty big moves after that. So that it lowers my confidence, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, if I were to look for 15-minute oversold. Like if we hit 5-minute oversold and 15-minute oversold after that big move all in one go without a big relief rally like that, then 15-minute oversold would be great. But the fact that we had two pretty big moves on the 5-minute oversold time frame, and we had a pretty big move playing off $10 psychological in that double bottom, that just increases the odds that the 15-minute oversold probably isn't going to be as attractive, right? And then sure enough, at the end of the day today, we had a double bottom there at 9.54 and 9.53 on the 15-minute time frame. We hit 15-minute oversold, but you might be saying to yourself, well, I don't want to swing overnight, right? And that's the difference of having a good trade setup and a bad trade setup. This isn't a great trade setup because even if you set a stop loss, after hours doesn't factor in stop losses, right? It doesn't trigger. Your stop losses only trigger during regular market hours. So you'd have to say to yourself, okay, if you're going to enter a trade, you have to say, and this video is definitely focused more on trading because I get a lot of people asking me about that today. Maybe I should have said that at the beginning of the video, but nonetheless, you have to ask yourself, if you're going to enter a trade on any stock or any crypto or whatever, if you're going to be doing a day trade or a swing trade, you need to say, okay, am I going to use a stop loss or am I not? I would say, 99% of the time you want, if not 100% of the time, you want to be using it. So if you're trading, very different than investing, right? But let's say, you're going to enter and you say, okay, am I going to scalp? Am I going to day trade? Am I going to swing trade? Am I going to swing it overnight? Am I going to set a stop loss? Usually you want to have the stop loss level set, you want to have it in your brain ready to set it the second that you put the order through. And then you want to have your take profit levels as well, your target. And then before you enter the trade, right? And then you also want to determine, are you going to scale in? Are you going to buy one order? Are you going to buy 2, 3, 5 orders? Are you going to scale in and then, maybe at $10, enter a little bit at 10, a little bit at 990, a little bit at 980, and then set your stop, below 970, right? So all of these things are very important. And part of that, kind of prep, that trade prep, you would have said to yourself, okay, I'm not comfortable swinging overnight because I don't play after hours. Okay, well then this trade setup is out the window, right? You're not going to swing this because, you have a nice clear double bottom there off 15-minute oversold. You can put your stop at 949, 939, right? Risk a percent or a few percent to make, 5-10%. If we were to bounce back up to just, EMA 26 or price action resistance, you're looking at about 5 to 10%, right? But not a great trade setup because it's a nice double bottom there off 15-minute oversold. We got pretty extended away from the EMAs, so one would think we would start to gravitate back towards it, but it could easily gap down and miss your stop loss into tomorrow, right? That's the risk. So if this was at the beginning of the day, right, if the market just opened and it was a 15-minute double bottom, 15-minute oversold, then that would be a great trade setup, and I would likely take it myself as well. But based on this close today, I would be very cautious, especially with VFF hitting hourly oversold and Truly down over 10% today at the close. And we're seeing that EMA 12 and 26 bear cross here on the hourly, and we could see it on the daily time frame as well. So like I said, I'd be waiting based on that 15-minute time frame and close today. I'd be waiting for hourly oversold. We're sitting at 42. Anything 30 and below is considered oversold. So, and like I said, we have no support down to 816 here on the hourly time frame. That's the next nearby. Really, it's 811 that we're looking at. So hopefully this video was helpful, and on the long-term scale, we still need to confirm a monthly uptrend as well. So we have still yet to form the monthly higher low. We would need to lose the low of last month at 609 to start monthly consolidation and start the higher low. Bulls want to see that hold this month though, and potentially, form monthly consolidation next month. But there's still 25 days left in this month. Anything's possible. It could very well happen this month. And that would mean that if from current levels, just to start monthly consolidation, we'd have to drop another 36%. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind, because we still need that monthly higher low and uptrend to be confident that the bottom is in. It's, it looks like it is. I'd say over 90% chance that, we're starting a multi-year bull market now, but, there will be dips along the way, right? And at the moment, on the monthly time frame, there's still, what I was going to say, that's what I was going to say. If you're looking for like high risk, high reward, CGC is your go-to, right? And then, if you're looking for volatility and day trading and, Aurora, things like that. But if you're looking for something like a little bit more safe and, you're not going to be pulling your hair out and stressed out all the time. And if you're not an experienced trader, then, you want to be very careful, because these swings are crazy, right? It's going up, in a very short period of time. What was that? 15 trading days, it's up 300%. And then in like one day, it's up 83% from the low of the previous day to the high of the next day. And then, we're down 36%. And then here we were down 46%. So, you might want to try starting with a name like, IIPR or GTII or, like a green thumb or an IIPR or, something a little bit less volatile. And, start to, and even paper trading, doing paper trading and using fake money is definitely recommended, right? Before you start just diving in, full force into one of the most volatile names on the planet, right? So you just have to keep that in mind. But in terms of the weekly time frame, we did have a stochastic bear cross as well. The MACD still bullish. Yet to see a bear cross there. And you can see here we got very close to that 100 weekly moving average again, and we topped out there. So that was, and then a huge upper wick. So bearish reversal candle there, and we got pretty extended to the upside of our daily EMAs, or daily moving averages, sorry. So again, when you get extended to the upside of the downside, you usually gravitate back towards them, right? It's that moving average, and generally we respect them in either direction. If we get above them, we usually gravitate, that gravitational pull back towards them, right? Same thing when we get extended to the downside, we usually come back up, unless, the company's going to go under. If it's a MedMen or something like that, might not recover, but, they just started Canopy USA, exchangeable shares. So if you're getting down, extended that far to the downside, they're not going anywhere. So one would think that it's probably going to get back up to where it was and gravitate back towards those moving averages, right? So anyways, like I said, hopefully this video was helpful. It was definitely more focused on the trading aspect, because I had a lot of people asking me recently, what's a good day trade? What's a good entry on CGC for a day trade or swing trade? And again, check out powgroup.ca. You can click on Academy. You can enroll in our free course as well. And I do a lot of explaining with regards to, how to differentiate investing from trading, and a lot of the psychology that goes into it and a lot of that prep work. So if you're interested, you could check out that course. But going in there, let me know if this video was helpful in the comments, and we'll continue the conversation there. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll see you again on the next video.